The Theatre of the Mind Live 282. Well, I never. Not sure what I'm going to say tonight, but I do have. I was doing some research just before I started this, which is why I was 30 seconds or so late, just to find out who's on the board of trustees, who's running the World Economic Forum, and you'll never guess who. Oh, hang on a second, that one. You'll never guess the names that I saw on the World Economic Forum. So, an inconvenient truth. Al Gore. What the is he doing on there? And then, who's going to be there this year? Well, we know Trump. We know Rachel Reeves is going to be there for the week. We know that David Miliband is going to be there, but we're unsure as to whether Ed Miliband is going to be there. Two Miliband brothers. So we are going to talk about World Economic Forum this evening, just to say hello, and we'll get into the parish notes in a moment. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. It is a broad Kirk. It is all welcoming. For those that have never been to the body of the Kirk before, I am the Reverend Adrian Allen. Genuinely, I am a reverend. I mean, all these people that give themselves fancy titles and fancy names. I'm the Reverend this, I'm the Father this, I'm the it's all just rollicks. So I am a Reverend of the Universal Ministries. Paid me 125 quid. I am a reverend. So I don't care if you're a man or woman of the cloth. I touch cloth regularly. But I'm just not buying into, well, I'm a man of God. I'm a woman of God. Just explain your God to me. Oh, good evening, Neil. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. I'm going to get to you in a minute. But thank you for your, let me just, it's one of them. Brilliant. Thank you, Neil. Thank you for your support as ever. Right. Yes, so the reason why we're going to talk about Davos and the World Economic Forum is I've been there numerous times. I've skied in both Davos and Cloisters, which is just down the road. King Charles the Week, his favourite skiing resort, seemingly. And if you do go to Cloisters ever, and to prove that I have been there, there's a little kind of equipment shop. One of those sort of, you buy your boots and your clothing and your ski clothing and your alpine clothing and all of that. And it's got a letter, not a letter of patent, but it's got a letter from the then Prince of Wales, Charles the Week. And it's just as you go in on the left-hand side, just to prove that I'm straight up and down. Nothing better than being straight up and down, let me tell you. And Davos, well, it's not that large. Not that I'm a size queen. But I have been to see the hockey team in Davos, which is where I get me green and blue from. Me hoodie, if you've seen it in some of the other lives. So if you are a regular, welcome. If you're a newbie, a brand newbie, then please let me know in the chat, because what we tend to do is we tend to pop your Theatre of the Mind cherry. So welcome all, welcome in. We have altar wine at the front near the altar. We have free Battenberg as sliced by Sister Mary and her big dog Dick. Again, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the Archbishop, but he's not here. So I'm not going to take the mickey out of him. I'm not going to bash the bishop this week. Certainly not. No, it's too cold. And we have three Austrian nuns that appeared months ago, and they're, I think they're members of the intelligence services, because they're at some really unusual stuff. Anyway, hang on, I'm just, can you see my hand there? It looks a bit green. What's going on there? I'm wearing red. How bizarre. It's coming off me, me screen. Anyway. Welcome. If you are a newbie, then just say hello, yeah, wrong in the comments, and I'll pop your cherry, baby. Garen Davis is first in the body of the Kirk this evening. Live long and prosper. Thank you, Garen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. Andrew James, obviously one of the early attenders. Starmer wants to protect Greenland, but he can't protect the UK borders or Chagos. He's not. And Sir Andrew, yeah, he wants to protect Greenland, but as I have said many times before, if he wants to protect Greenland, send his son and his daughter, who are old enough now to go into the armed forces, and they can go to the front line. I think it's only fair. If he wants your children and grandchildren to fight in a war for him and his cohorts at the World Economic Forum and the Chinese Communist Party, he's a Manchurian candidate. Just Google Manchurian candidate. Put simply, it's someone who works on behalf of a foreign power. And I believe he works on behalf of the West, which works on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. Stakeholder capitalism. I know. So, Andrew James, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Not that he's going to protect Greenland. I mean, Jesus H. We'll get to that because I've got stuff I want to tell you tonight. Neil Cunningham. Neil, welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. Why is Starmer so concerned about overseas development, but is completely uninterested in broken Britain? Let's rename him. Please disappear, Keir. Oh, very good, Neil. Alliteration station. Love it. And the reason why he wants to chuck all that money or spunk all that money abroad is because, well, you know what happens when money goes into a non-governmental organisation, don't you? It splashes back. Look at Brown Trousers, President Brown Trousers. They're talking about nearly 100 million coming back out of Ukraine over to the Biden organised crime family, OCG. And I will remind you on whatever happened to Hunter's laptop with all the filth on it. Well, he got done for carrying a gun, but all the filth and all the guilty shit on the laptop. Oh, I say, the FBI got it. FBI, well, maybe that's why Dan Bongino has kind of gone, no, this is not for me, lads. I've done a year. No, I'm aware now. And Kash Patel. I will say this to you. Do you know why people become MPs? Because the people that run the game look at you, and if you're one of them, not one of them, one of them, they let you in the club because they know you're never going to cough about what you see and hear within the Ozempic Palace. That's why you only are allowed in to the club if they believe you'd be one of the club. It's like joining a golf club, I suppose. They'll only let you in if you can play golf. Swing. So what does that mean, Adrian? Work it out for yourself. So I just believe, I was thinking this today, they only let you in if you're in, if that makes any sense. Yup. Yep. So welcome, Neil. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Des Ashton, you can ring my chimes. I'm so glad you didn't say ring my bell, Des. Yeah, utter wrong. Let me get back up there because I need to click on that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So welcome, Des. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. Louise Hampson. Hello. Hello, Louise. Make sure you can get in the Starmers because it's quite busy this evening. Adrian, why do you call the pews the Starmers? Because they're hard on your derriere, baby. And Des says, looking forward to the roses this year with all this brown stuff. They will be beautiful. Tend to agree, Des, because there's loads of that brown stuff flying about. Oh, the politicians. It's just the entertainment arm of the military-industrial complex for uglies. Les Griffiths, what became of Just Stop Oil? What happened to Black Lives Matters? Where did climate change go? The ozone layer, my body, my choice. Well, Les, I know you to be a very erudite and switched on kind of guy, but Just Stop Oil. Well, the money stopped. Oh, they were doing it to save the planet. Not in my view, they weren't. They were doing it because they were being paid to do it. And the United States Agency for International Development did everybody's knees. They stopped putting all the money abroad, like billions and billions. They stopped sending money abroad. It was the Americans that were using American money. Well, you thought they were doing it because, well, they wanted to help the planet. As a great Chinese philosopher once said in the northeast of England, hard away in shite, man. So Black Lives Matters, the people at the top of Black Lives Matters got, the Benjamins. It was all about the Benjamins. And they've stopped because the Benjamins have stopped. Because the United States Agency for International Development are not... I'm going to say, Keir Starmer holds call with Donald Trump over wrong Greenland tariffs. Can you imagine? We've all seen the videos. Little Keir going, hello, is that Donald? Yeah? Who's calling? Well, it's Keir. Not as queer as Kia. Oh, hello. What do you want? Oh, are you going to be in Davos this year, Donald? Yeah, I'm going to be addressing the whole thing. Oh, not remotely, by Zoom, I take it? No. Oh, so I'll see you there then. Want the money and you want man? No. Well, you know, Donald, I'm just this Greenland malarkey. I mean, what are you doing? Oi, no, I'm not interested, and you can go and sum it up your derriere, unlike the Ukrainians. So, Donald, I'm just saying that what you're doing with Greenland is wrong. No, I don't bloody care, man. Anyway, shite. Have you watched Adrian on YouTube? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, shite, man. So, if you're wondering what's happened to the Donald and Starmer, an idiot. And he'll be there because Rachel Reeves, who was there for a week last year, taking her instructions and, can I have another fiver? Can I have another fiver? I'm here. Just to let you know that I've said to you before that the people of Davos make a shit ton of money. In fact, this 1 week for the World Economic Forum, they make so much money it pays their mortgage for the rest of the year, like literally the rest of the year. I'm very well aware of the costings of apartments and places to stay in hotels. Now, most of the hotels are taken over by corporate entities who take them over, deck them out in holly and flowers and smelly stuff and nice stuff, and then all the apartments get rented out for 7 days, Saturday to Saturday, because today is Sunday. And, it's dark now, but I'll guarantee you that in Davos right now, there's probably a whole backlog of people trying to get into Davos because there's only one road in and one road out that goes to cloisters. So for security purposes, it's very, very good. Very, very good. But the Davosians, they make a shit ton of money. So I'm going to give you an example. If you want to rent this week a 4-bed apartment, so you and your mates can go there. 35 grand for the week. Now, I get that it's like 4 grand a night. What's 4 sevens? 28. So, fiver. No, 4 8s are 32. So, 4 and a bit grand per night for this apartment. Which means that if there was me and 3 of my mates, three of you, and we went to Davos just to have a mooch around this particular week, then it would cost us probably about 1,200 quid per night. So can you see why the Davosians are very happy for the World Economic Forum to be there? And Klaus Schwab, who was going to retire this year, I mean, he can't stay away from it. He loves being the Bond baddie, really. He can't stay away. So if you go to my Twitter feed, or X, I've just put a little video up there with Klaus Schwab. No, I didn't do that, Your Honour. No, I'll retire. It's the same. If you're in the club, then you don't get prosecuted for anything. You just retire, and everybody goes, oh, he's retired. Let him go. So Klaus, the dirty tart, technical term that we use in radio, he's retired. How do we end, shite, Klaus? All right, you're wrong. Where are we? I see you, Les. I came to the conclusion years ago that we are living in a madhouse. The lunatics run the asylum now. Run the asylum. They're on the door. We can't get into the asylum because we're not mad enough. We're commonsensical, and they're not. Welcome, I see you. Welcome, Louise. Welcome, Les. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Where are we? Oh, I need to crack on. Sandra says, Les, where have the goodies gone? You never see them protesting, sat on M25 in -5 temperatures and freezing their bits off. No, they only come out and protest when it's warm. That's because they get paid. If they're not getting paid, they're not doing it. That's like all these protesters everywhere around the world. George bloody Soros, man. He's got another Germanic accent. They're all, what, you think they lost the war? Second World War. Hello, Adrian. We shouldn't talk football today as we lost Charlton. We just didn't lose. We had 2 players red carded. What's wrong with them? Is it that they don't want to play and this is a way to get their days off? Yeah, you get an automatic 5-match ban. I mean, if you look at Crystal Palace, we played them yesterday, come away with a win, which I think was a fair result. But I looked at yours, Sandra, and I was thinking, what's suddenly happened? It's like gone off a cliff again. Are they not playing for the manager? I think there's too much player power nowadays. They're sensitive little egos, the players. And I don't believe that they're playing for the manager or the club or the shirt, unlike the Sunderland players, who it's very evident to everybody else in the Premiership and in football. They're playing for the shirt. There's little Noah Siddiqui. He's been running his legs off at the African con, and he's come back and he just wants to get stuck right in. And you could tell by yesterday that he was playing for the fans. They all are, which is amazing because Sunderland is an amazingly well-supported club, as is Sheffield. By the way, Sandra, I think Dan Neil gave a wave to the fans yesterday at the Stadium of Lakes. I think he's on his way to you. Because I'm trying to think what was based in Sheffield. Oh, yeah, the Sunderland Echo. Sunderland Echo, which, I mean, I could tell you legendary stories because everybody in Sunderland bought the Sunderland Echo, and especially the Football Echo, which was a different colour on a Saturday. I mean, everybody used to read it walking around. In fact, it was the mobile phone of 50 years ago. But if it's owned and run by a company in Sheffield, I think that young Dan will do well for you. He'll be down in Sheffield before the end of the month. So, again, I wish you well, Sandra, because football... who'd support football, man? It's so painful. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, Sandra and Les and Napoleon Blown Apart. Hang on, let me just dink it down just a touch. Napoleon Blown Apart, welcome to the body of the Kirk, young sir. Going to really try to get back here on time today. We hope you and Mrs. A are well. My newest theory is that many new UFO sightings are drones from America. What are your thoughts? I'm going to talk about drones. I'm going to talk about something that's going to blow your mind a little bit later. Drones or helicopters. Tell you in a minute. So tonight we're looking backwards and forwards. So as a very wise ninja teacher once told me, Ichigo Ichi, young Adrian, moment by moment, whether it's backwards or forwards, stillness is where you need to be. So welcome. The theme tonight is going to be power without elections. Say that to the Japanese. It's power without erections. And tonight isn't about... Do I have to explain my gags to you now? The Japanese don't have L's. They don't say L. They say R instead of L's. So power without elections becomes power without erections. Tonight isn't about left or right. Hang on. Tonight isn't about left or right. It's about who decides when nobody votes. And there's Tony Blair. Didn't retire from power. He just changed altitude. On y soir qui mal y pense. He's a member of the Garter. He's now being put on the Council for Peace. Peace, my hairy backside. He was bombing the shit out of Iraq back in the day. That's because Bush told him to. Remember, clear and present danger. 45 minutes. Saddam Hussein's going to attack us. And everybody in Parliament went, "Ooh, Tony, man, Prime Minister, no, bomb him, bomb the shit out of him. If he's got missiles that'll get across here in 45 minutes. And, he's got weapons of mass destruction. Oh, Prime Minister, man, go and bomb him to hell. And he never had weapons of mass destruction or missiles that could make it to this country in 45 minutes. Tony Blair says, well, I was just doing what I thought was best. Just stay off big green spaces, Tony. So tonight we're going to talk about Trump and Davos and Starmer and Davos, but we're also going to talk about other stuff because I want to kind of light and dark, light and shade, light and shade. So we're going to talk about Robert Jenrick, not Robert Jenrick per se, but honestly, politics is vicious. I think they've all got to wear stab vests. Why? because they're knifing each other in the front and in the back. I mean, it's just, some are briefing in the newspapers, some are not briefing in the newspapers, they're just legging it to Reform. And then Reform has some, the conversation around Zahawi, that was me thinking he was a minister for antiquities in Egypt. But there's all these Tories going, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet, Kemi, lovely to meet you. Yeah, you're shit. I'm going to go to Reform. Thanks, Kemi, you're not good enough, you never were, I'm off. So I'll make a prediction around Kemi not good enough. She's gone in the summer. Gone in the summer. 1922 committee, you'll be pulling her in. I mean, they pulled Thatcher in and went, Margaret, darling, Margaret, take Denison, go off. Foxtrot Oscar. Oh, I say, really, chaps? Yeah, you've had 10 years, Margaret. We're going to talk about Elvis. We're going to talk about Davos and Starmer and the WEF and the news cycle. So could I professionally bid you welcome, good evening, welcome to the body of the Kirk. I'm the Reverend Adrian Allen, and welcome not to a show, but to a gathering of the intelligentsia. Oh, sorry, Napoleon Bonaparte. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Welcome to a gathering of quite intelligent people, if I may be so bold. So tonight, the world's powerful are also gathering. We've got our gathering here. They've got their gathering in Davos, where I'm sure the wine, not the altar wine, ours is a better quality. Look, if we took Battenberg across to Davos, they'd lose their mind. Some of them wouldn't. Some of them know what it's used for, but some of them would lose their mind. So the world powerful are gathering in Davos under the banner of the World Economic Forum, WEF to those who know. They will speak softly about dialogue, cooperation, and the future. Now, that's not an accusation. That is a fact. But dialogue is never neutral. Dialogue decides what is thinkable. And what is thinkable soon becomes inevitable. So whilst Davos gathers, Gaza bleeds. And whilst Gaza bleeds, plans are drawn, not in the rubble, but in conference rooms in a galaxy far, far away. Morality becomes the shield. Sorry, Stuart. If you know the gag, you know the gag. But Stuart's just said, surely Starmer would know how a Toblerone hangs out. Depends how hard you push it in, Stuart. So morality becomes the shield. Urgency becomes the excuse. And the question of who decides quietly disappears. And drifting between all of these rooms, Davos, Washington, post-conflict councils, is a very familiar figure. Anthony Charles Linton Blair. Now, Blair didn't retire from power in 2007, as I said earlier. He just changed altitude from elected office to permanent advisory class. Only soir que Mali Ponce. From ballot papers to briefing papers, just don't mention Smartmatic. From consent to continuity. What do you mean? What's Smartmatic? Smartmatic and Dominion, the Venezuelan counting machines for elections. So some people or some figures never seem to leave the room. Governments change. Crises rotate. But there are some people that just never leave the room. And it's not a conspiracy. This is a career. Back home, the same patterns echo. A prince in court, talking about that later, not about celebrity, but about whether privacy still exists when power wants access. A foreign state proposing a mega embassy in London, not just bricks and mortar, but footprint and reach. Tariffs, wielded like weapons over Greenland, reminding you and I that trade is no longer commerce, it's pressure. A Brexit reset, spoken of as trust, written as deterrence. Parties are fragmenting, defections accelerating, voters sensing that something isn't being decided with them anymore. Meanwhile, the future arrives quietly. Autonomous helicopters take flight, no pilots, no pause. Who was it that mentioned drones earlier? We're going to get to that story. Helicopters, no pilots. Oi, oi, oi. Transport systems become data systems. Institutions push back against popularism, while never quite asking why trust drained away in the first place. So this is not chaos. It is order, just not one most people voted for. So tonight, we're not here to panic. We're not here to shout. We're not here to hate. We are here to see. See clearly. Clarity amongst the chaos. And we are here, well, you are, to notice how power behaves when it thinks no one is watching. Oh, I say, Sherry, are you in the shower with a lady friend? Yes, honey. I'll go and meet my male friends on the heath. So tonight we're going to notice how power behaves when it thinks no one is watching. To ask who holds the pen when history is rewritten as reconstruction. Bathhouse Barry, not President Brown Trousers. Auto pen, Bathhouse Barry. And also, we're here tonight to remember that continuity without consent is not stability, it's management. And politicians are now like middle managers. They're all arseholes, they don't know what they're doing, and they're just kissing up to the boss. Who's the boss, Adrian? I'm sure you've worked that one out before. It's definitely not Starmer. So this is the gathering in the body of the Kirk. This is not a show. This is a mission. And the journey for truth continues. Don't know whether you've heard, but there's a new Unite the Kingdom march happening, May 16th. Tommy seems to have Stephen, because Tommy Robinson doesn't have any legal purchase. His real name's Stephen Yaxley Lennon. The new song that he's promoting is AI. I can tell because of the way that it's set up, and it's AI, and not very good AI, to be fair. Just my view, in my opinion. So May 16th, if you're wondering, there's going to be a new Unite the Kingdom. Surprisingly, it's not going to be before May 7th, because May 7th is when the local elections happen, and there's not going to be any. Because Labour are too scared that they're going to be eviscerated at the ballot box. Of course they are. Everybody's had enough. We're just waiting for the chance to get rid of them. Foxtrot Oscar. I wanted to ask you, Napoleon blown apart, somewhere in England, Asda is missing its manager. Kia. Well, no, he wouldn't be Asda. He would be Wait, or very posh M&S. Oh, hello, Kia. Yes, Kia. I have a complaint. Oh, do kindly, Foxtrot Oscar. Louise Hampson, still on? What is? Stuart says, why is he called Tommy Robinson if it's not his real name? I've got a few ideas. One, Stephen Yaxley Lennon doesn't really trip off the tongue as like a good Englishman. I mean, how many English men and women do you know that have hyphenated second names? Me neither. Stephen also, there's so much AI on Facebook now. I know when I watch something, I have to watch it twice, because the first time it's like, right, is this real or is it Memorex? The All Bovril, and it's a crap show it is too. Bloody thing, Paulie. Yeah, showbiz. I do believe that this So in media, it's called putting a bid in. So I've put bids in for 5 interviews this week, and we shall wait and see. Because I do want to get to interviews, because it's one of my my radio skills. Because I genuinely would, and I've had offers from members of the body of the Kirk, and thank you for those. I am looking at them. Thank you. Amalia, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Have they? What's that, Lewis? Have they stopped it then? Haven't seen it for many a year. What's that? Oh, did he, Matthew? So what's the explanation then? Is it a tax dodge? Because that's why a load of DJs in the 70s were using kind of 2 Christian names. If you didn't use your real name, then it benefited you with taxes or something. I've no idea. I mean, I was stupid enough. I just used my real name and paid me taxes. Evening, Adrian. I really look forward to your channel. Very informative. Lynn Howe. Lynn, thank you very much. Obviously, a newbie in the chat. So, Lynn, when anybody says, hello, I'm a newbie, there you go. There's your cherry pop. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Free all to one and Battenberg at the back. AI is all American, whatever you ask it. Try asking it to create an image of a Victorian English street. Enigma Blue, thank you very kindly. Are we? Oh, we're well short. So, yeah, yes. We've got lots of people in the body of the Kirk. And Louise, I will get to your comment in a minute, because it'll lead into what I'm going to do next. I mean, Tommy Robinson is backed by, possibly funded by, Israel. So I don't know whether he's controlled opposition, because anything right-wing, Israel loves, so to speak. Oh, Des Ashton. Tommy Robinson was the common name of the British soldiers in World War I, hence the sobriquet. Is that how you pronounce it? Sobriquet or sobriquet. Tommy! Thank you, Des. I just want to pick up on what Louise has said. Ski Sunday. Louise, oh, don't, man. So can I just give you kind of my take? I love skiing, even though I'm shite at it. All the gear, no idea. Technically, according to my ski instructors, technically I'm very good, but just it's a wobbly confidence thing to do with being up a height and scared shitless. So, but I will conquer it before I go into my box, possibly going into my box as I go off the edge of a cliff. No, I won't even tempt fate. But I love Ski Sunday. The bits that I loved on Ski Sunday, and I was thinking this while I was watching it yesterday, thought about mentioning it tonight very quickly, is that it's the theme tune. It's the bloody theme tune. It's wonderful. I mean, it just, the theme tune to Ski Sunday just makes me feel like Franz Klammer, even though I'm more like Mr. Bean. But Franz Klammer, I mean, and what they've done is I can't remember his name now, the British male downhill skier that used to show us what they would do on the downhill. He would run the course. And that was my 2 favourite bits. And now the intro's being cut down. Now we've got bloody boarding. Who? I mean, I know they're trying to attract the kids. They're trying to be down with the kids. Bloody no! How do we end shite man with the boarding? And I know there's some friends going out on boarding holidays as we speak. But skiing is skiing is skiing. Love it, love it, love it. The après ski, hoi, 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 hoi. Mulled wine and chips. Or if you go to Austria, try the Grösel. The Grösel is just like a fry up well, I used to call it fry up. Mashed potato base with all the leftovers chucked in with a bit of meat on top. Hoi, 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 hoi. Food of the gods. Graham Bell. Thank you, Louise Hampson. So Graham Bell in the intro were my 2 favourite bits on Ski Sunday, and I'm gutted. Do you ski, Louise? Because I take my hat off to anybody that is any... I mean, there's 2 things that I always wanted to do as a kid. Horse riding and skiing. Horse riding, skilled, seemingly, according to my my tutors. And they wanted me to do cross-country. I was like, oh, behave. I'm taking the horse with me. And skiing, just never... But I love it. I scream like a girl. Love it. and the après ski. No, Tom. Ski Sunday said skiing's racist. And they've got two white guys presenting it. Sorry, white man, white woman. I mean, and every time Shemi Alcott in the second episode had or what's her face? She was banging Rory McIlroy, and was it Lindsay Vaughan? Or she was either banging Trump or she was banging. She was skiing with Rory McIlroy, and somebody had to say to her, either Rory or Tiger, lads, away, just leave it alone. She's women make weak legs. Oh, Amalia, my boy's off skiing tomorrow in Poland. Poland's fantastic. Poland is just fantastic. And I see you says, I tried dry ski in Scotland. Wasn't in Edinburgh, was it? Ended up bashing into a car. Sorry, I see you. I don't mean to laugh at you. I'm laughing with you. Ended up bashing into a car in the car park. Didn't go back. What's the dry ski slope in Edinburgh called? Because they have something there called, whatever the place is called something thumb, because there's so many people that go skiing and catch their thumb in the matting of the dry ski slope that it's just really common. Rich says, my knees couldn't take skiing. No, I see you. It wasn't Aberdeen. It was in Edinburgh, the one that I went to. Evening, Rich. Welcome, young sir. Des Ashton. I went down the ladies' downhill course from the 76 Olympics. It took me 15 minutes. The winner did it in 1 minute, 35 seconds. Bloody hell, Des, you went down a black run. You're either mad or skilled. Even 15 minutes on a black run. Oi, 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 oi. Ray Norton. I know. Fanny Schmeller. Skier on the chase. Well, she would have been. Stephen Hall says, we had a dry ski slope in Hertfordshire. Did you? I mean, I know they're all over the country. A bit like there's a proper snow dome indoors in the Weege and in North Yorkshire somewhere. I remember going to one there. And I'm sure they've got one in, is it Hemel Hempstead? So they've got 3 or 4 of them around the country. But skiing, you just get your kids into it. Get your kids into it. Brilliant, Les. Getting wed was the only slippery slope I went on. Garen Davis, Hemel Hempstead. Thank you, Garen. So, as I say, we've got a lot to cover tonight. And I wanted to do a couple of quick things before I get to Trump and explaining Davos to you and the World Economic Forum and what's happening with Tony Blair. It's like a bad smell, that bloke. Right, Louise. My back wouldn't take it. It's such a shame because it is a fantastic sport. Very expensive. I mean, when I skied in Davos last, it was some obscene amount of money for a week's ski pass. It was like 500 and odd quid. And you just think, at least Dick Turpin wore a mask, you wrong uns. Trafford Centre as an indoor ski centre. Thank you, Ray. Bradley Walsh laughing about Fanny Schmeller is the funniest video ever. I agree with you, Stuart. It is. It's just joyous. Just joyous because you can't really say anything. So I want to talk about Hollywood very quickly before we get into Trump and what's going on politically and World Economic Forum. But we're going to get an early question in and early votes in. It's 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you still go to the movies? 1 for yes, 2 for no. He said 50 quid, Amalia. Bloody hell. Yeah, get ready for global warming by learning to ski. Thank you, Lionel. Hill End. That's it. Enigma. Hill End. Obviously a very good researcher, Enigma Blue. Napoleon Bonaparte. Hit the zeitgeist, I think. 2, not in years. Tom Harney's far too expensive. No. I mean, Super Ted, welcome to the body of the Kirk. And I see you say yes. Everybody else saying no. Interesting. Because I saw Andrew James says too expensive. I saw Who else says yes? The old one. Yes. Did you see the video of Bradley Walsh where he finally her on Michael McIntyre show? No, Stuart, I didn't. Would be interesting. So let's get the votes in. Tom Harney's and Gribbo and Vix Tex, Rich, Elliot, View Bovril and Lionel and Stephen Hall and Amalia, Albert Metcalf, Liga Lister, all saying no. So the reason why I was asking for your vote tonight, Sandra Whittam says yes occasionally. The reason why I mentioned it was because there's a conversation going on in America where they're saying a family of 2 adults and 2 kids, it's costing them about $100 to go to the movies for one night for like an hour and a half or 2 hours watching the film, which is why most people for £100 would just get a subscription to Netflix or something. It's the food and the drink. They're talking about $20 odd for a soda. I mean, the last time I went to the cinema, which was, called blimey, I think it was either the Elvis film or Led Zeppelin doc. It was a tenner for a bag of fucking popcorn. I was like, oh yeah, Robin bar stewards. And then if you want a big soda, it's like another tenner, £20. And then your tickets are like £15. So by the time, say, you and a mate went, it's like there's £30 on your tickets, and then there's a bucket of popcorn each. All of a sudden, it's £50. Jesus. But the question is, 1 for yes, 2 for no. And I'm not telling you my answer. Yes. Have you seen a bag of treats or minstrels, or have you seen how expensive they are? So 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you sneak sweets in to the cinema? Oh, here we go. Comic Mania. I used to sneak in my own sweets and popcorn. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. I'm genuinely asking, do you sneak sweets in? Cool. So Comic Mania and Ray Norton, men after my own heart. That's a yes. Oval Raw, Vix Tex, Elliot, Enver, all saying yeah. Andrew James is a beyond reproach. Roy Gordon, yes. There hasn't been a film worth paying for. I agree. Napoleon Blown Apart. Tom Harney's, always. I See You. And a gin. Oh, surely the sweets would alter the taste of the gin. I See You. Haven't been for 10 years, says Les Griffith. There's a punchline in there somewhere, Les. Karina, yes. Super Ted, always. Gribbo says, with popcorn, 2 regular drinks, £20 at our local cinema, not a big company either. Ooh. Not allowed into the retro cinema. Are you not, Amalia? Have you been kicked out for fighting or something? Yes, of course, says Karina. All I can hear now is the Pearl and Dean theme. That's all of us now, Lewis. So it's, I tend to go on Tuesdays and Wednesdays where it's buy one, get one free and take your own drinks in. I'm with you, Sandra. I'm a tight-ass northerner. I mean, this conversation going on in the States at the moment, they're talking about attendance is down. Well, no, the wonder it's down because it's too expensive. The cost of living crisis and all. Roy Gordon says, I miss the ice cream ladies. Let's talk about theatre for a moment. Last theatre I went to, which was probably Mrs. Doubtfire, you get a Haagen-Dazs thing for like £5,000, like a tiny tub. And, oh, by the way, you get a free spoon. Oh, do I get a free plastic spoon? Yeah, and you're charging me how much? I remember 20 years ago going into in Leicester Square. I went taking the young lady I was with as a birthday treat, and they were charging like £20 a ticket, and they said, "Oh, that'll be £40." I said, "How much?" When it was only like £8 in Preston where I was living. I miss the organist, says Lionel. Me too. I'm sure she did tricks behind the curtain, being the organist and all. And she used 2 hands, seemingly, when she was playing. Amalia says, you're not allowed to take even water in with you, is what I mean. Really, Amalia? Can you not, like, sneak it in your handbag or your jacket pocket? I mean, what they're going to do if you go in there with a bag of sweets? What they're going to do? Say you can't take them in there. Why not? I forgot. I should have left them at home. They were just in my jacket pocket. Oh no, you can't do that. Right, you can refund me. Good money, you're wronging. Thomas de Quincey, for it seemed to me as if then first I stood at a distance and aloof from the uproar of life, as if the tumult, the fever, and the strife were suspended. Very nice, Thomas de Quincey. Very nice. Amalia, just sneak it in. It's like prison. Just shove the packet up your backside, mind you. They'll probe it. Rudest thing ever in a cinema when a guy answered his phone during the movie. Oh, no, Enigma Blue, I'm not. I agree completely. So thank you for your votes and your opines. So it's a conversation that's going to go on because I think on the Rogan podcast they've got what's his face, who was married to J-Lo, and the two nice guys that are I think work wives. No way, Amalia. You're not allowed. No, they watch on CCTV and confiscate. I just wouldn't go back, Amalia. I literally wouldn't go back. They were talking about why attendance at cinema is down because of Netflix. They didn't say that the popcorn was too expensive. They just said that people are walking away now. There's no films bringing them into cinema, which is why a lot of films that are being made now. So they gave the example of if you make a film for 50 million, because of all the publicity and promotion that you have to do, you've got to make 100 million for a return, as where you can kind of sell it on streaming and get a few bob back. I see you says, I went to a cinema, only me and my hubby and two others, down 5 rows. A woman came, sat right in front of us and started crunching crisps. The place was empty. I would have made it very difficult for her to breathe. Because it's like going into a car park, completely empty car park. You park your car, go into, say, Tesco's or wherever it is, come back out, and somebody's parked right next to you. They've got the rest of the car park, and they come and park right next to you. Is that a thing? Is that something that people do? When I went to cinema once, there was a lad in there eating, no way, Stuart, eating cornflakes. The noise of the crunching was pissing people off. I thought it was hilarious. Oh, I couldn't. Amalia says that's why I don't go. Mind you, Comic Mania can peel an orange in his pocket and separate the segments. I remember the old flea pit cinemas when I was little. Me too, Stephen Hall. They were fantastic. Last time I went to the cinema, my car got locked in the car park. It's Comic Mania. Okay, quick one before we get to Trump and Weff and Blair and Starmer and Reeves. What is it with people? That's the question I want to ask you. Have you ever walked out of a film? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Don't necessarily have to give you reasons. Evening, Ian McGee. Yeah, wrong. Have you ever walked out of a movie? 1 for yes, 2 for no. And I mean, I remember going to see the original Saw movie at the cinema. There was a group of us that went because we thought, oh, it can't be. Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the original Saw movie, people were fainting, and like having to be carried out by the staff. And there was, can you remember the Passion of the Christ? Ooh, I went on my own for that just to kind of see what it was like at the Metro Centre. And there were people, I mean, loads of people walked out because it was directed by Mel Gibson. And I think that he was just being blasphemous. But there's your religious types. So, have you ever walked out of a movie? Lewis and Roy Gordon and Comic Mania. Matt Whedon says no. Gavin Davis, Al 1967, Oval Raw, and Cuban Pete, and I See You have said yes. So it's a real mixed bag. Does it piss you off? Yeah, Stuart. Does it piss you off when people clap when a film ends? I don't understand. I mean, you know that clapping is invoking the gods. That's the reason why we clap, seeming the the noise invokes the gods, so it pleases the gods that we've enjoyed something. I didn't realise. Passion of the Christ changed my life. Les, it's an amazing film. I mean, I watch it every Easter. It is an amazing, amazing, amazing film. And I've been to Jerusalem loads, so I've been half a dozen times, and I go searching out the usual places that we know from the story. Mel Gibson has gone down in my estimation. He's a knobhead. Well, Comic Mania, he's outing the paedophiles in Hollywood. So, swings and roundabouts. The Uber, it's what seals do, invoking the gods. Yeah, I see you. Same. People clap when the plane lands. I think that's just out of sheer relief because they're not going to die that day. I mean, I've never clapped anything. Well, there was that one thing with 3 nuns and a stick of wet celery. But hang on. Les, yeah, that. Jack Sparrow is a real hero, isn't he? Rocky Horror has the best participation. Unique, says Doxy. I know. Let's do the time warp. Oh, I say. Are we going back to the 1930s? I love a good clap at the end. You party poopers, you, says Amalia. Poopers even. Yeah. Yeah. Film stars aren't what they used to be. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. I wouldn't support them. I wouldn't even give them a jockstrap, Peter O'Brien. Barbarella reduced me to tears. The saddest self-abuse ever. Barbarella. Jane Fonda. That's where Duran Duran got the name from. Should we do WEF? Karina says, I walked out when I went to see Challengers. It was pure rubbish. Karina, I've never even... I mean, I'm not a fan of these Marvel Universe films because it's just marketing and hype. Andrew James, at my first classical gig, I didn't know you didn't clap between the suites. I gave a clap when it finished. I got a glare. Oh, I say, I'm sure. No, young chap, you don't do that. Do whatever you want. You've paid your money. Pay the price. I sat through 2 showings of Wuthering Heights, says Lauren Taylor. Timothy Dalton was the best Heathcliff. Oh, Lauren, when I was a young guy, I wasn't 18. Oh, obviously, if you don't tell them, I won't. But I saw Saturday Night Fever, 3 films on the bounce. We stayed in for 2, me and my mates, and then the usherette kind of came in because it was 77, 78. Usherette came in, and what are you doing, lads? What are you doing? Oh, let us stay in. It's just a fantastic film. So we watched it 3 times on the bounce. I can't even remember the cinema in Sunderland. Was it in Sunderland? Yeah, it must have been. So let's talk about Trump going to the WEF, the World Economic Forum. I'm going to give you some inside information that you won't get anywhere else because it's not been mentioned in any of the press. But Trump is going to the World Economic Forum. Tony Blair, we're going to talk about that, is on the Gaza Council, the Council of the Peace Council. And Trump's, I'm going to tell you this now, he's going to make a speech Wednesday afternoon. He's going to make a speech Wednesday afternoon. He's basically going to tell all the surrender monkeys from France and Germany, and because Germany's not allowed to have an army. The United Nations, yes, but not allowed to have their own army. They're going to be told, the surrender monkeys, oi, 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 wrong uns, you can back off. And I'm in charge now, so I'm having Greenland, so you can go and stuff yourself, says a spokesperson. And he's going to tell Europe to surrender. Well, France has already surrendered. They'll have the bloody white socks on and white flag flying high at the WEF if they know that Trump's going to go. Now, this year's World Economic Forum is under a theme called A Spirit of Dialogue, which is what I mentioned earlier. A Spirit of Dialogue, Davos 2026 provides an impartial platform, and I'm quoting from the World Economic Forum website, to connect leaders to confront shared challenges and drive innovations defining the future. What the bloody hell word salad is that? This year's WEF, World Economic Forum, under the theme, A Spirit of Dialogue, Davos 2026 provides an impartial platform, I bet it does, to connect leaders to confront shared challenges like being deselected as a government by being told to foxtrot Oscar. Oh, inconvenient truth for Al Gore, who made millions after telling everybody we're all going to die, we're all going to die, climate change, global warming, no. How many millions did you make, Al? Just tell us. He's on the bloody board of trustees for the World Economic Forum, that tart. And do you know who's going to be there speaking? David Miliband. So this is what, and Klaus Schwab has already admitted this, 4,000 of his little minions, political minions, are in office around the world. No wonder they're trying to control Canada and Australia and New Zealand and Great Britain, because they're all little weffites being controlled. But there's David Miliband, brother of the millipede, the brother of the space cadet with his ukulele. David Miliband. And the reason why I mentioned the 4,000 little weffettes, what's David Miliband doing there? He's just running a charity in New York. Is he going to be the new Labour leader of the Labour Party? I mean, there's Rachel Reeves. Pick me, intellectual, pick me. You know, quicker she's gone, the better. And she has, in effect, because Starmer's going to resign. She'll be gone. But is David Miliband going to be the new leader of the Labour Party? Because they always have them there. I mean, there's Nigel Farage. He's only got 5 MPs and he's going to the World Economic Forum. What for? Meet Donald Trump. That's why he's going. Is he taking anybody with him? Is he taking Sahawi? Is he taking Robert Jenrick? We're going to talk about those clowns in just a moment. So I would suggest that Donald Trump's speech on Wednesday, and I'm going to watch it via the website. I'm going to watch it. The Financial Times are doing some podcasting from there as well, if you kind of want to get stuck into it. But Trump's speech is guaranteed to be epic. And I'm going to take great delight in listening to it. So El Trumpo is going to Davos, and the elites know exactly why that matters. Davos gearing up for the World Economic Forum's 56th annual meeting. It's running from tomorrow, which is January 19th, to... Oh, Andrew Rosendale, MP for Romford, has quit the Conservative Party and agreed to join Reform. Oh, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. Chemi not good enough is, in the words of the great Chinese philosopher, fucked. The Conservatives, they know they're not going to hold on to power. They're all jumping ship now. And then Chemi not good enough is, well, I'm in charge. She's too bloody aggressive, that woman. Well, not aggressive enough in certain situations, like PMQs. Well, what did you think I meant, you dirty tart? And just simply aggressive. So breaking news, just letting you know that another one's jumped ship to the Tories. So this year's World Economic Forum runs tomorrow at a Thursday-ish. So the 19th to the 23rd. And this year, there's one thing hanging over that mountain, and there's loads of them. Some great skiing, like a storm cloud. It's Donald Trump is coming. Now, I know Donald Trump has been there before. I know, first-hand experience. And his daughter. So El Trumpo is just going to go, right, lads, look what I did to Venezuela. Look what I'm going to do to Greenland. If you don't play ball with me, I'm going to 100% tariff you. You're wrongin'. Now, I know which hotel El Trumpo stayed in, because they just took over this whole hotel near the lake in Davos. Couldn't get there, but it's a toss-up. Honestly, all these euphemisms, Adrian, what are you on this evening? Is it really hibiscus? So there's all this, the Chinese Communist Party last year, the locals were kicking off. Too many Chinese communists in Davos. And now that El Trumpo, he's going to be there with loads of people, which I will name. I am going to tell you who he's there with. He's expected to arrive early in the week, which is why there's not really much going on yesterday and today in America politically, because he's flying and getting his body clock right. Because the last time, so he was there 1 year, and then I think last year he was on FaceTime. But this year, he's marching in, teleprompters will be working, and he's going to walk in and go, where's Klaus? Where's Klaus, the wrong one? Or is he retired? Well, he needed to for what he did. Notice how I'm not telling you what he did, because I know what he did, and I know what they're telling you he did. That's not what I heard. Muggy tart. Les says, Dougie is going to Davos, hoping to sell his book outside the main doors. Oh, that would be so funny. Andrew James says, the Bovril. Imagine if Trump did offer the King and Starmer an offer for the Isle of Wight. It would be a rich island. If they can find oil under there. I mean, they're not allowing them to drill in the North Sea. So I would suggest that Trump's flown over and he'll operate as the king of the world, in essence, today and tomorrow. Then he might make public on Tuesday, and he's going to either have a dinner Tuesday night, speech Wednesday afternoon, and a dinner Wednesday night, and then he'll fly out back to the United States of America. Excuse me while I get rid of the alerts. While I'm talking to you, if you're getting any value from this evening, smash the likes you're wrong, and please let's get it over 100 if you feel so inclined. So he's going to arrive early-ish, scheduled to speak on Wednesday 21st, right in the middle of the forum, not tucked away in a side room, not dialing in as he did last year, but standing in front of the very people who believe they run the world. Bit of a shocker when they find out you don't. And anybody taking the United States Agency for International Development money, cough it back. So the timing is not an accident. This isn't just another speech on a crowded agenda. This is Donald Trump walking into the most insulated, self-congratulatory gathering on the planet and doing the one thing Davos hates most: challenging the legitimacy of the room itself. Davos is where unelected power meets to reassure itself that it knows better than voters, it knows better than the breeders, it knows better than the great unwashed. Oh, did I just stand in some shit? Oh, get off my shoe. It's where global policies are discussed by people who never have to knock on doors. Cockite's going to be there. Rich boy Sunak. He's like a bad smell. You can't get rid of him either. Him and his billionaire wife. And they never have to explain inflation to a family at the grocery store. They never have to justify why life keeps getting harder for everyone else whilst they fly in private jets. And they fly in to talk about shared sacrifice. That'll be, oh, no foie gras for me. Thank you very much. Now, Trump has never pretended to respect that culture. Let me tell you why all the leftists hate him, whilst all the Labour supporters, Labour government, I mean, look at what they said about him when they weren't in government, when they were in the shadow government. It's because all of the politicians, virtually worldwide, are bought off. They're bought off by squirreling away taxpayers' taxes, by being paid in the back pocket from the non-governmental organisations, the NGOs, internationally, where they just launder billions and billions and billions of dollars, and then it comes back into Nancy Pelosi and her husband have got a $200 million fortune on her $180,000 a year job. But Trump's got billions. They can't buy him off. Money doesn't work with him. But all the left, they're just grifters. Money, including Starmer and his government. When we find out in like 20 or 30 or 40 years, God willing, if we're still around, we'll find out that this government, we know it's corrupt. We know there are people who are accepting dodgy money and not paying their taxes or taxes that they should have paid. Ginger Crowler, when's she coming back? So if Trump is consistent, and he always is, he won't praise global governance or technocratic management. He won't bow to international consensus. He'll say flat out that nation states matter more than global institutions, that governments are accountable to their own citizens, not to forums or panels or advisory bodies that answer to no one. Tony Blair, anyone? That alone will make that room bristle when he makes that speech. And he's likely to say what nobody at Davos wants to hear out loud. But globalism worked spectacularly well for the people sitting in those seats, and spectacularly badly for the people who weren't invited. Me and you. He'll tell them that factories didn't disappear by accident, by our shipping industry, shipbuilding industry on this sceptred isle. It was all flogged off by bloody Thatcher to China. And that the middle classes weren't hollowed out by chance, that policy choices were made deliberately and ordinary people paid the price, the working man and woman. He's going to talk about borders when WEF wants to talk about frameworks, infrastructure, prison. He'll talk about sovereignty when they want to talk about coordination. He'll talk about voters when they want to talk about stakeholder capitalism. And when energy comes up, he won't play the moral performance game. He'll frame it the way he always does, as a question of affordability, security, and national survival. Not theoretical targets, not long-term abstractions, real costs paid by real people who don't get to opt out. Now that's deeply uncomfortable in a room where consequences are always externalized. But the harshest part of what Trump is likely to say won't be policy, it'll be blame. He's always argued that populism didn't come from ignorance. It came from betrayal. From elites who insulated themselves from the fallout of their decisions. Ed Millipede, anyone? And what these politicians do is then they'll act shocked when trust collapsed. Oh, it wasn't me, governor. No. We're trying to do our best. We're giving kids free school meals now. We're giving them free school breakfasts. Yeah, but you're shafting the waspy women and the pensioners who are freezing to death over the window. Oh. You know that Trump's going to have a go at the institutions that demanded obedience whilst offering nothing resembling accountability. They're never accountable. That's why the trust's gone. That's why nobody believes them. That's why the Labour government are finished, done, over. They were the party, the political party, for the working man and woman. And Blair shafted all of that. Oh, we're back to him mincing about on the heath again. So this year's theme, a spirit of dialogue. Trump's presence exposes how hollow that phrase really is, because real dialogue means listening to voices that reject the assumptions of the room entirely. And Davos has never been good at that. Trump doesn't represent consensus. He represents rejection of consensus. He represents hundreds of millions of people who believe the global order was built without their consent and maintained without their benefit. That's why this speech matters. Not because he'll convert the elites. He won't. But because for once, the people who lecture the world about legitimacy, inclusion, and trust will have to sit still while someone tells them to their faces that they lost it. And no amount of panels, slogans, or carefully worded communiques will make that moment disappear. Starmer will fly out, come back for PMQs, and then out again. Because if Trump is, if he's doing this, I'm told he's doing his speech mid-afternoon. So unless he goes out and stays out in Davos, he'll get Fat Lad Lammy or one of the other non-entities to stand in for him at PMQs. Rachel Reeves is not going to be there. She wasn't there last week. I was just taking a holiday. Aye, right. Begging bowl out again in Davos. Hey, Rach. So Reeves is going to be there all week. We'll only know what Starmer's up to because they'll record stuff and play stuff out while he's out there. He can't kind of, he can't fraternize with the powerful because he's a non-entity. People know that his people hate him. They don't particularly care so long as there's a whole load of executive snow floating around and nice, comfortable trains. Because are they going to helicopter in? They use the, I think it's a five-a-side pitch next to the hockey arena for the helicopters, the private helicopters, bringing them in and out. So that's kind of Trump, what's going to happen at Davos. I want to mention the royals very quickly for a moment, because I'm going to ask you another question. In 2026, are you pro royal family or don't you really care? So two, you can be, I don't care, I'm a Republican. Or one, yes, I'm a royalist, love the royal family. I'm not going to judge, I just want to feel what you think of them before I get into what I've noticed this week. Garen Davis and Lewis, and I see you, and Des Ashton and Ray Norton, all saying, as well as Stuart and the old one, no. Matthew Whedon is a yes, as well as Enigma Blue and Philippa Fraser. Good to see you, Philippa. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. I can't hear the word Davos without thinking of Davros. How apt. Now that they've got Starmer as a Dalek on one of the videos doing the rounds. Used to care, but not anymore, says Tom Harneys, which is interesting. I am anti-reptile people, says Andrew James. Elliot and Karina and Comic Mania are saying no. The Ubovril is a yes. Doxy is a no. One, it's who we are, whether we like it or not. Very good point, Roy. Very good point. Napoleon blown apart. 3, couldn't care less. I'm confused, but I do like Kate. Okay, the reason why I mentioned it tonight is just reflecting on what has been going on with the royals this week. So we've got King Billy and Catherine, Princess of Wales, out doing their thing, the charity work and doing their usual thing. And then Catherine makes an announcement about a week ago that her cancer is in remission. Now, forgive me for being a bit thick, but, well, I'm told thick's better than long, but she said, my cancer's in remission. That's not what we were told. We were told she didn't have cancer. We were told she had pre-cancerous cells. They went in to I don't know, probably well, they removed certain parts of the household, and they said at the time it's pre-cancerous cells. Stephen, I think they all did, which is why I have my doubts about why Queen Elizabeth II, because she had cancer of the blood. But Catherine said that her cancer's in remission when we were told she didn't have cancer. So as I've said previously, either she did or she didn't. If she didn't originally, they've told us the truth. But if she did originally, they've lied to us. The press, the palace, the royals, they've lied to us. She's now saying her cancer's in remission. But the reason I mention that is Charles just the other day, he's saying that, in 2026, my cancer treatment can be reduced. I've done so well that my cancer treatment can be reduced. And everybody's like, yay, yay, Charles the Weak, yay. But what they've missed is, he didn't say it was in remission. He said my cancer treatment can be reduced. Not my cancer is in remission. So can you see how the use of words is slightly different, which is why I asked you whether you were still a fan or not. So if the treatment's being reduced and there's nothing more they can do for him, then King Billy's going to ascend to the throne in early 2027. Because naturally you would have said, yes, my cancer treatment's gone very successfully. My cancer is in remission, as Catherine has said. But he didn't use the word remission. He said my cancer treatment can be reduced. So coming up this week, just kind of alerting you and putting it on your radar, Ginger Sphericals, he's back in court again. And whatever you think of young Harold, this case matters because it's not celebrity gossip. It's a test of how British power works when it wears a press badge. Harry and the other claimants are accusing the Mail's publisher of unlawful information gathering. Phone hacking. My words. It's the kind of stuff that, if true, isn't journalism, it's intelligence work with a byline. And the deeper point is this: if the media can obtain private information by unlawful means, then it isn't just reporting on public life. It's shaping it through fear, leverage, and humiliation. So another question, 1 for yes, 2 for no. I see you, says Harry is wanting back in. Yeah, the money's running out. The Americans know the money's running out. She's trying to get her businesses going. He don't care as long as he's got a bag of weed. Self-admitted. That's not about me, in my opinion. He self-admitted it. Even did ayahuasca. Pussy. I did it 4 times in 5 days. So, is this about privacy or about who gets to operate above the law? So, Ginger Sphericals has got the Mail, and others have got the Mail in court again this week. But is it about privacy or is it about who gets to operate above the rules? And do you know something else? I've told you before, IPP, Internationally Protected Person. Let's have a look. After a cancer diagnosis, you have a 5-year life of checkups, jabs, blood tests. Thank you, Enigma Blue. So the O. Bovril and Philippa Fraser, Lauren Taylor, Garen Davis, Andrew James, Elliot Stewart, Cuban Pete, Ray Norton, Fred Hallworth. Sorry, Frida, you've nailed that. It is about IPP, which I'll explain in a second for those that don't know. But everybody's saying it's about who gets to operate above the rules. Literally everybody. Reg D, Comic Mania, Tom Harney's, Karina, Geordie Nicholas. I see you. Oh, sorry about the score this afternoon, Geordie Nicholas. And Des Ashton, all saying it's about who operates above the rules. Well, it's King Charles the Week. There's some dubiety about who's his daddy's. Who's the daddy now then? So everybody's saying it's about who gets to operate above the rules. I want to give you and I know that you enjoy the insights that I give about the news. And remember, there's another live tomorrow night, Monday night. We're doing it exactly the same, 7:15 for the parish notes, just saying hello to everybody. And thank you to everyone for your votes. Gribbo and Ian McGee, Super Ted and Lewis. Thank you for your votes. All no, obviously. So Monday night is another live night, and then Wednesday. But the one thing that I do is I study the news. And I believe the news is now turning into 2 very active streams. There's politics, entertainment for the uglies, And then there's like showbiz and PR, where the journalists are just rewriting press releases that are sent out. There's like nothing happening in between. If you look at, say, The Sun, for example, the populist newspaper of this country, it's thinner than somebody that's been on Ozempic for 5 years. There's no in it. Until you get to the weekend, and then there's all the adverts for the cruisers and the dodgy pants and shit you don't buy. There's literally nothing in between. There's all this politics stuff, and then there's all this sort of non-entity stuff. And that's why we've got a news cycle of here today, gone tomorrow. Not even that, 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. If you look at the news over the last couple of the weeks, the Swiss bar fire. What? Who? Digital ID. Oh, you forgot about that. Venezuela. Oops. Greenland. It's dying on its feet. Iran, Israel, Gaza, the Greater Israel Project. They've all been and gone within hours. Within hours. And as a seemingly content creator, that's much to my chagrin. By the time I've turned a video around, given an opinion, it's gone. So you've literally got to be within the first 5 or 10 minutes for anybody to go, oh, I'll watch that. Les Griffith says, talking of Ozempic, have you seen Kelly Osbourne? Yeah, her and Sharon. Too far. Too far. I don't like it. It makes me feel sick. It's not healthy. But that's their choice. It pays you money and it takes your choice. Andrew James says, we need to talk more about the Labour MP doing severe damage to an underage rent boy. Who are you talking about? Nick Brown, Andrew? Oh, were you a bit worried about... Because it's kind of like this open secret. Everybody knows about it. Just nobody talks about it. And I don't know why. Garin says, is there really, Les, massive lawsuits taking place against the manufacturer of Ozempic? Oh, and the aliens are landing soon, according to Garin. 2027, if my sources are to be believed. Can I tell you about the Japanese Prime Minister? Because you know how around the world, women are taking over the world. I mean, they already ruled it. They just didn't realise it. The Japanese Prime Minister, she's called Sasme Takeichi-san. It's an honorific if you're talking to the Japanese. Sasme Takeichi-san. And seemingly she likes to relieve stress by banging one out. She's a bit of a rock goddess. Japanese Prime Minister. She likes Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. Loves hitting the skins. Bit of a drummer. Only when hubby goes to bed. I've heard about that in certain marriages. She sounds like a hyperactive child. Like a 5-year-old. Oh, my hubby's gone to bed. Right, I'm going to bash one out. I'm going to give the skins some throbbing. The U-bottle, that's very funny. Sounds like an electronics company. Shall we get to... I just thought that was... I mean, we had Bojo the Clown, and now we've got the Dalek, but Japan's got a rock goddess on the drums. She's not Cozy Powell, to be fair. But I've been looking forward to tonight all week because I want to talk about Robert Jenrick and the Tories and the Labour government and reform on the week of Davos, where Trump's going to be there, Starmer's going to be there, Rachel Reeves is going to be there, Nigel Farage is going to be at the World Economic Forum. How does that work? And I don't know about you. In fact, I'm going to ask you, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Has the events of this week, Zahawi and Jenrick and the Tories, and now Farage going to Davos, is that changing your opinion of Nigel Farage and or reform? 1 for yes, 2 for no. With Zahawi defecting and then Robert Jenrick, so the old Tories and their baggage that they're bringing to Farage and reform, and now this week Farage going to the World Economic Forum. Is that changing your opinion of reform and Farage? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Oh, interesting, Des. If she's so high in the system, she will be a Sama, not a San. She's not high up in my system, so she's definitely a San, Des. She's not Derek Longmuir, if you know what. Yeah, didn't he get done? How's the Ukrainian rent boys trial going? It's not. Which trial was I looking at that's going to be delayed by a year? That might not happen until late 2026. Oh, that was Tim Westwood. Can't talk about the trial per se, but the process of law. He's been to court and made his plea, and it's not going to get to court until the back end of 2026. So the vote that I asked you for is the Zahawi, the Robert Jenrick, and Farage going out to the World Economic Forum. Has that changed your opinion of reform? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Lewis says no. The Bovril says no. Stuart says no. He's not well at the moment, is Nigel. Frida Holworth. Really? Tell me more. But everybody else is saying Matthew Weedon and Stephen Hall, Oval Raw, Lionel, Ray Norton, all saying yes. Gribbo, Dreamer, Albert Metcalf, Comic Mania, Ian McGee, Allison and Roy Gordon are all saying yes. Garen Davis. So I think it's probably about 30-70. Geordie Nicholas says, sources say Farage doesn't attend Davos. He merely passes through on a private train called anti-globalism. Now, I've been on that train, and it is spectacularly beautiful. Going from Zurich up into the mountains, the train ride is breathtaking. I will admit that. But saying he's going to Davos and then not. I mean, has he been on the sniffing the barmaid's apron or something? Sol Rebel says, don't trust him. Super Ted says, no, they always had my vote. Richard Tice stood in for him today. I think it's cold, flu, as he was sniffing and coughing the other day. Ooh. Oh, Retro's in the body of the Kirk. Evening Retro on his bikes. Welcome. Yeah, wrong, and it's been a while. So glad you could make it. And I hope everything is good and well with you, young sir. So Robert Jenrick and this what's going on in Ozempic Palace. As I said earlier in the live, politicians need the metaphorical stab vests now, because it's not a night of long knives. It's a day, night, every day, every night of a night of long knives. I mean, the amount of backstabbing that's going on, whether it's Kemi not good enough, saying, oh, good riddance to bad stuff, and I sacked him. And then Robert Jenrick going, oh, I'm going to tell everybody the secrets of the Tory party. And then the Tory party going, oh, really? Oh, my trousers have changed colour. And then there's me thinking all this backstabbing and all this name calling and all this posturing from Labour, from the Tories and from Robert Jenrick. There was me thinking the only prick they were getting was from Ozempic. I mean, Zahawi and Jenrick in 1 week, and now we've had word that somebody else has jumped ship. I reckon they think there's going to be a general election in 27. They think that Starmer's going to resign during the summer. It's going to be complete chaos and civil unrest within the Parliamentary Labour Party, that the country's just going to demand that they go to the country. So let's not insult our own intelligence tonight. This isn't a man changes his mind story. This is Westminster doing Westminster. They're all stabbing each other in the front and in the back. There's blood up the walls. They don't care. They've got no principles. They just want to be top dog. I mean, a palace where loyalty is rented, principles are leased, and the only thing that remains sacred is the career. Because Robert Jenrick hasn't just shifted benches, he's detonated a nuclear bomb under the Conservative Party. He's walked across the smoking rubble and posed for photographs with Nigel Farage like it's a wedding and not a funeral. And the really poisonous part, and this is, you're getting to see in real time how nasty and vindictive politics is in this country, how they do not care about anyone or anything else other than themselves. And have you noticed the reportage? Both sides are claiming moral purity while bathing in the same sewerage. I was going to say shit, but... So on the one side, you've got Conservative leader Kemi not good enough, saying she had clear and irrefutable evidence that Jenrick was planning to defect. And so she sacked him, suspended him, well, technically pulled the whip. That's not discipline. That's a preemptive strike. That's a political equivalent of, you can't dump me, I'm dumping you. And on the other side, you've got Jenrick calling the Conservatives rotten and failed. And talking and taking the language straight to reform, as if he's stumbled out of a haunted house and is now selling tickets to the tour. So, hang on, Geordie Nicholas. No backstabbing in reform, only robust ambition, holding a blade, viewed from behind. Ask Rupert Lowe, Geordie Nicholas. So let's decode the scandal. The bits that tell you what this really is. So the irrefutable evidence line is the real story. When a party leader says they've got irrefutable evidence, and I am quoting Kemi not good enough, of a plot to defect, they're not just removing a colleague, they're telling you there's internal surveillance, internal leaking, internal factional warfare. That means that the Tory machine isn't a party right now, it's a crime scene with better suits. And ask yourself, why would that evidence become actionable now? Because timing is everything in politics. This wasn't handled quietly. It was handled like a public execution, loud, theatrical, a deterrent. Let this be a lesson. And then we've got another Tory defected tonight. Now, you may say, well, there's obviously a culture of people leaking stuff, Reverend. Westminster runs on betrayal. It has done for hundreds of years. We're told the move was being planned, discussed, facilitated, and that the leadership found out through channels that smell suspiciously like mischief, like somebody's left the plot on the photocopier. Maybe it was mischief, or revenge, or preemptive sabotage. In other words, nobody trusts anybody because trust is a currency that's already been spent. You don't get politics like this when you have a shared mission, when you have a vision and the leader's taking everybody with them. You get politics like this when you have competing survival strategies. Jenrick admits the runway was long. The reports say he'd been discussing the state of the country with reform since around September. Remember that Nigel Farage went to the Tory party conference last September. He was glad handing everybody at the Tory party conference. He knew what he was doing. Nobody reported it, except this channel. So Jenrick had been discussing what was going on around the Tory party conference with introductions and facilitations from figures orbiting the Conservative ecosystem. That matters because it reframes this from a moment of conscience into a managed transition. And if that is true, then what we're seeing isn't a sudden break, it's a staged escape, with exits mapped and costumes prepared. We're being told by Robert Jenrick, no by-election. And then there's the mandate question. So Robert Jenrick keeps his seat. No immediate by-election. Some will argue MPs aren't required to trigger one. Fine. But politically, symbolically, that's the sour taste, because it tells the public your vote was a vehicle. I'm the driver. Pipe down and sit down. Now that's not illegal. It's just, I would suggest it's the exact reason people despise Westminster. And Reform will love this, because it feeds the two-party stitch-up narrative, even whilst benefiting from the same parliamentary mechanics. I mean, watching this week, was it an instant sanctification? I mean, it was almost a press conference theatre. I watched it live, thinking, bloody hell. I mean, if only journalists were this hard-nosed when dealing with all of the deviancy and the pervertedness and the lying and subterfuge in Ozempic Palace firsthand. They all know what's going on. They all know why certain politicians are in the places of power they are at, because other more powerful people have got something very powerful on those people. So they tell them, jump. And the politician says, how high? Well, high enough so that we won't release these videotapes about you. So the press conference theatrics. Jenrick appears alongside Farage, and it's presented not as a reluctant step, but as a confident rebirth. The political sinner emerges from the river dripping with new purity. I have sinned. I have sinned. Just donate more to me campaign fund, and I'll tell you what it's like to have sinned and had a rebirth. But you see, here's the decoded point. If you can rebrand a defection as heroism in a single news cycle, then politics has become pure performance art. And the audience is expected to clap, we're back to clapping again, whilst their pockets are picked. Now, reports flag that Jenrick has had leadership speculation around him for a while. He denies leadership ambitions in Reform. May be true. Maybe not. But the pattern is what matters. In a collapsing party system, everyone's positioning themselves for the next structure that might survive. Labour won't. The Tory party won't. Reform might. Advance UK could. Now, I expect Rupert Lowe to make a big announcement this week, possibly with Ben Habib. Just watch. I mean, everything, all eyes are going to be on Davos, so I think this week would be a folly to announce anything, because the newspapers are not going to report it. It won't be a big story until the week after. And you see, that's why what's gone on in this last week, that's why it feels traitorous to voters. Not because a man changed his mind, we're all human, we're all allowed to, but because it looks like a career move dressed up as a moral awakening. This defection isn't an isolated romance. It's part of a bigger story. So in 1 week, 7 days, 3 Tory MPs have defected over to Reform. The Conservative right flank bleeding into Reform, and Reform positioning itself as the new home for disillusioned Conservatives, making Badenoch's authority itself the battleground. And then Nige has come out, was it Friday? Everybody's got to jump ship before May the 7th. So if you're watching all of this from the outside, you're not seeing healthy democratic debate. You're watching a family fight over who gets the house while the roof's caving in. You see, this is why it feels poisonous. Because you and I, the royal we, we're being asked to believe everyone is acting on principle. In a building where principles are seasonal decorations. Badenoch moves decisively. But the very need for decisiveness suggests a party infected with paranoia. Jenrick calls the Tories rotten. But he rose through that same structure, benefited from it, and only denounces it once it no longer serves him. And then there's reform. They celebrate the defection as proof that they are the future. Yet it also proves that the system is so hollow now that a seat can be carried across the aisle like a handbag. A handbag? So here's the question I want you to sit with. So if politics is now a carousel of factions, leaks, purges, defections, poison, and theatre darling, where does your consent fit into the machine? Because every time Westminster makes betrayal look normal, it teaches the public one lesson. Nothing is real. Stop demanding reality. And that, dear member of the body of the Kirk, is the true scandal. Not one man's jump, but the normalization of a culture where treachery is just strategy. Strategy with better PR. It's the poison and the treachery. So let's keep walking calmly through the smoke as it clears after this week in politics. Because once you strip away the headlines, the smiles, the righteous language, you're left with something colder and far more revealing. This wasn't chaos. This was choreography. When Robert Jenrick crossed the floor towards Nigel Farage and Reform UK, it wasn't a rebellion. It was a signal flare. A signal to donors. A signal to MPs sitting quietly, counting numbers. A signal to journalists already drafting tomorrow's narrative. And most of all, a signal to voters that the old guard knows the ice is cracking and everyone is looking for the nearest lifeboat. And here's the poisonous truth Westminster won't say out loud. This is not about left versus right anymore. It's about inside versus outside. Protected versus exposed. Career survivors versus disposable public. I would suggest that the Conservative Party didn't lose Jenrick because he suddenly woke up with a conscience. They lost him because the centre of gravity has shifted and everyone inside the building can feel it. When the Conservative Party talks about betrayal, what they really mean is this. You left before we told you where the exits were. And when Reform celebrates Jenrick, what they're really saying is, look, even their insiders know the walls are rotten. Both can't be pure. Both are using the same rot for leverage. The unspoken rule that's been broken. Westminster has an unwritten contract. You can disagree, you can plot, you can brief against your colleagues, but you don't leave publicly unless the timing suits the machine. Jenrick didn't just leave. He embarrassed them. He forced leadership to act openly, harshly, theatrically. And that tells you everything you need to know about how brittle authority has become. When power is secure, it whispers. When it's frightened, it shouts. And here's the dark pattern. This isn't isolated. MPs changing parties without consulting voters. Leadership acting on evidence that mysteriously can't be shared. Press fed just enough drama to keep attention on personalities, not structures. It's the same pattern that you see everywhere now. Manage the optics, delay the reckoning, keep the public arguing about motives instead of mechanisms. That's why this story feels so traitorous, even to people who can't quite articulate why. Because instinctively, people know this isn't representation anymore, it's elite musical chairs, played at speed, while the country watches from outside the room. The real betrayal isn't switching sides. The real betrayal is this. They all talk as if the public are spectators, not stakeholders. As if your vote was a one-off transaction, not an ongoing consent. No pause, no reset, zero humility. Just trust us, we know what we're doing. And history tells us, whenever a ruling class says that in unison, it's because they've run out of honest explanations. This isn't about liking or disliking generic. It's not even about reform versus the Conservatives. It's about recognizing the smell. A system where loyalty is conditional, truth is tactical, and morality is applied only after the press conference. That system doesn't need reform. It needs exposure. Because once betrayal becomes routine, once defection becomes branding, and once outrage becomes choreography, democracy doesn't collapse in a bang. It just dissolves quietly, politely, with everyone insisting this is all perfectly normal. And that, not the defection, is the poison we're actually breathing. This week, Westminster wants you to believe this is just politics as usual. A man changes his mind, a party draws a line, a press conference smiles. But listen carefully, because there's another defection on the way, so we'll go through exactly the same rigmarole and poison over the next couple of days. So listen carefully, because what you're actually hearing is the sound of loyalty being priced, not practiced. When Robert Jenrick walks out on the party that made him and into the arms of Nigel Farage, we're told it's principle. But when the Conservative Party moves to execute him before he jumps, we're told it's discipline. And when Reform UK celebrates it, we're told it's the future. But here's a question nobody's asking. If everyone's claiming the moral high ground, why does it smell like betrayal? Now the question is Jenrick or Zahawi going with Nigel to Davos? So members of the jury, members of the body of the kirk, you're not here to judge personalities. You are here to judge conduct. The facts are really simple. A sitting MP discussed leaving his party while still holding its authority. A leadership team claims it had irrefutable evidence, yet shares none of it. A seat won under one banner is carried into another without returning to the people who lent it. None of this is illegal. That's the most damning part. Because what you've witnessed is not democracy breaking the law, it's democracy being hollowed out whilst obeying the rules. My lord, the defence says this is conscience. The prosecution says this is ambition. But the court should note, conscience usually arrives before the escape route is prepared. And let's address motive. The Conservative Party claims betrayal, yet admits it was already watching its own MPs like suspects. Reform claims renewal, yet welcomes the very political class it says it exists to replace. And both sides ask for your trust. Neither pauses to ask for your consent. In any other profession, switching employers whilst keeping the client's assets would be called malfeasance in office, misconduct. In politics, it's rebranded as courage. So here's the verdict. This is not the trial of one man, it's judgment of a culture, where loyalty is conditional, morality is retrofitted, and the voter is treated as an afterthought. The court finds that Westminster no longer fears losing trust because it assumes you have nowhere else to go. And there's the rub. Because it assumes you have nowhere else to go. This week, Rupert Lowe, Ben Habib. I've asked both for interviews for the channel. Let's see. Court is adjourned. But the sentence, that's still being written. And this time, it won't be delivered from the benches. I was going to talk about something else. There's a new Elvis film coming out, but I think I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. Frida Hallworth, very good. David Davis is going to Davos with Farage. I think David Davis has been before. Comic Mania, why should Jenrick hang around a deadbeat party? The Tories are flipping useless. So I think we'll... thank you, you, Bovril. Interesting time coming. I agree, young sir. I agree. I mean, it's a great time to be alive because it's wild. 2026 at the beginning. I just said it was going to be wild. I didn't think it was going to be this wild. I mean, the only thing that's going to top it this year is aliens appearing. Stuart says, a new Elvis film. Really looking forward to that. The last one was good. We'll talk about it tomorrow night on the live. I've got some other stuff, some other royal stuff, some other Trump stuff. We've got Netanyahu, the end game, more. I was going to do an explanation of the World Economic Forum, its background, its mission, its everything. I'll keep that for the beginning of tomorrow night. So if you're you're aware, but you don't know the detail of the World Economic Forum, I'll begin the live tomorrow night with it. And then I've been sorting out all my photographs from Davos of varying bits and pieces, like the conference centre. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, as ever, everyone that's donated this evening for your continued support. So I've got... I did a walk around Davos as they were de-rigging the World Economic Forum and took some photographs and small videos. So I'll introduce you to it tomorrow night on the first day of the World Economic Forum. And then once I've kind of said it and edited it, Tuesday morning, it should be with you. I've been working on that for the last couple of days. So Billy Solix, good to see you in the body of the curtain again. Good night, everyone. Thank you for your likes. Thank you, Rich. Again, thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to smash the likes on your way out. Oh, you're wrong. Look after yourself. Be well. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. This is not a show. This is a mission. And the journey to truth continues. Tomorrow night, 7:15 for the parish notes, 7:30 for the real meaty stuff. My name's Adrian Allen. This was the Theatre of the Mind live number 282. 283 tomorrow. Whatever you do, wherever you go, be well. Always carry emergency Battenberg. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30 for the kick-off.